Oh, and as the sea, the blue sea, washes up on the white sandy beach, and there's a slight, warm breeze, and of course the sky is blue and very warm, and there's just so many femons walking around that are all quite attractive and slim, long black hair, dark eyes, and a beautiful smile. And then, unfortunately, I woke up. Well, at least I have my memories until that goes. But as some of you may know, I spent at least 10 years, maybe more, I think, in Thailand. Of course, that was quite a few years ago when Thailand was quite cheap. And I do believe it's changed quite a lot in the sense of prices anyway. They're getting quite expensive there now, I believe. And the COVID pandemic created havoc with the tourism there and closed a lot of businesses, especially the beach resorts ones. But Thailand always had a kind of a stigma about it, didn't it, in the Western world, in Europe? And it was all because of these small areas in, say, Bangkok and, say, Pattaya and a couple of other areas, which are very small sections of Thailand, actually. And the femons long ago, even in the Western world and Europe, tried to shame all men who thought about going to Thailand or went to Thailand, that these men were disgusting. It wasn't the femons they said were disgusting, they were the poor victims. Apparently, it was all men's fault yet again. But all it was the femons of Europe and Western world were just pissed off that those men's money was going to Thailand femons instead of them. Of course, the femons tried to tell you about it was a moral thing. And as we all know by now, femons don't have any morals, do they? And of course, when I lived there, especially at the beginning, I participated in all sorts of things in Thailand. You know what I mean? And it's a funny thing, you know, because I used to go into these places, and the femons, of course, were offering something, as they do there. But the femons still had far more class than the Western or European femons, who basically were offering the same thing, just a lot more expensive. Like I say, I haven't been to Thailand for many years and heard stories that things and prices have gone way up. But I think you'd still get a good bang for your dollar there. And for the young men, don't worry, there's gyms everywhere. But you may not need to go that often because you'll be doing a lot of push-ups, if you know what I mean. But femons are femons and they're like it everywhere. Just be careful, guys. Because behind that angel smile is a femon. Now, I'm pretty old now, but I'd love to think to myself I could go back to Thailand one more time. To go to the places I used to visit and see how they changed. Of course, I would probably have to be in a wheelchair. But I think I might just take a younger man with me as my sort of stunt double. And he could sort of do what I used to do when I was a younger man and probably take a video and I could watch it. Actually, thinking about it, that sounds pretty sick. Now, through my lifetime, I've had some really good times, really some bad times. But Thailand is way up on the good times. When I went to Thailand many years ago, it's probably the closest to paradise I can think of, really. No other place at the moment has come close. It reminds me of that film with Arnold Schwarzenegger, everybody remembers it, Total Recall. Or maybe Fantasy Island if you're really old. And I'm sure even today you could go there and have an absolutely fantastic time. But be careful, because Thailand has swallowed up a lot of young men and spat them out. Always keep it in mind that it's just a place to have fun. It's not forever. Just think of it like Westworld. I should probably actually never go back to Thailand as long as I live. Because if I went back to Thailand, it may spoil the dream, because it's changed so much. And I'd like to keep Thailand in the paradise level. So if you're a young man out there and thinking about having a holiday, take a look at Thailand. The scenery in Thailand is also beautiful, and hardly any of them are wearing yoga pants. And if you do go there, don't come attached. Be aloof. Just think that you're a bee and you're going from one flower to the other. And if you decide to go to Thailand and there's a lot of femons around you in the Western world or European world trying to shame you for it, just tell them if they didn't look like a bag of shit, they could have some of your money too. That usually shuts them up. As I say, Thailand may have overpriced itself. Now I don't know. But there are other places around there, you know. Couple of things not to do in Thailand. Oh yeah, there's quite a few actually. But here's ones that young men usually do. They hire a jet ski. Don't. It's usually a scam. You take it out and you come back and they say there's a mark on the jet ski or some damage. And then they get the police involved who are a little bit corrupt about that because they're after a bit of money themselves. It may be a bit better now, I don't know. The other thing is you can hire very, very big and powerful motorbikes. But the trouble is most of the insurance you get, if you get any at all, doesn't cover you really. And you mix alcohol with a big powerful bike, spells disaster. But apart from that, and just staying awake and alert, anything there can be possible. Not quite sure what this video was about. Was it selling a trip to Thailand or something? I don't know. Just a memory really. But funny enough, I'm going to check some of the flights and places to stay in Thailand to see. Maybe this was my memoir. Sabayadi, mate. You take it easy, fellas.